My name is Cathy O'Donnell. I am the EMEA Marketing Director at Dropbox, and I'm really delighted to be here today at the end of, let's say, a rather challenging year. 2020 already started out to be a pretty tough one for small businesses with the UK scheduled to leave the EU, and companies were trying to understand how taxes and employment and trade deals were going to be impacted by Brexit. Then, of course, the pandemic hit, and overnight things changed and really completely transformed the way businesses operate and the way we work. So really doesn't matter what industry you're in. You might be construction, retail, accounting, hospitality. The way we've all worked has changed, and businesses are really being forced to work in a completely new way. Business continuity plans where they existed have really been tested to the extreme, I think it's fair to say. The Office of National Statistics have reported a 41% rise in the number of home workers in the first 6 months of the year. And quite recently, Ireland was actually named in an EU survey as having the second highest levels of working from home after Belgium. And if you fast forward 7 months, we now have an even more unpredictable operating environment for businesses, with places of work could be shut down pretty quickly due to COVID and lockdown rules. 3/4 of workers actually say they want to continue working from home after the pandemic. And of course, businesses are struggling with employees needing to self-isolate. But I would say this isn't just about employees working from home during a pandemic. In actual fact, we know that's just not an option for a lot of industries. This is really also about just doing business, when you're out on the road, you're on a building site, you're at a client site, and you just need to be able to access information that you need to keep your business moving forward, even on your mobile device. We really think the future of future workforce is going to be hybrid and dynamic by design, not really because of the circumstances we're forced into. So the question is, how can you as an employer both keep your business operating, obviously during these uncertain times, but also build for the future, where you and your employees have access to all of the information that you need to move your business forward from any place and at any time. And really the answer to that is digital transformation, quite simply. And the good news is that a lot of small businesses, up to 70%, according to IDC and Cisco, have actually accelerated their digital transformation due to the pandemic. But a relatively small number, less than a quarter, are actually at an advanced stage of digital transformation. And 26% really are still very reactive to the situation, and they're not proactively embarking on a digital transformation journey. And that's really why we're here today. But knowing the right path to digital transformation isn't always easy. There's a huge array of technology out there that can help you on your way. But if you make the right choice of technology, it can really be a force multiplier for the business. It's not necessarily an obstacle, which is sometimes the way people feel about technology. It can help you scale, it can help drive productivity, and ultimately it can help generate more revenue. I think the easiest way to understand how digital transformation can help a business is to give some real world examples. So Jason Holloway, who comes from one of our partner companies, Bridgeway, has a lot of experience in this area. He's MD of his own small business and also an advisor, consultant to many other businesses that are either embarking anew on their digital transformation journey or accelerating it. So at this point, I'd like to hand over to Jason with his very impressive Movember moustache to tell you a bit more about some of those use cases. Over to you, Jason.
Thank you. As Cathy said, I'm Jason Holloway, Managing Director here at Bridgeway. I know this year has been a difficult one for small businesses because, well, firstly, I'm part of a small business that's had to adapt to the way that we operate since COVID-19 came about. And I've also been working with a number of smaller and large organizations that have had to adapt the way they operate as a result of this pandemic as well. One of the biggest challenges that these organizations have come to us with is the need for an infrastructure that allows their employees to access and collaborate on content from wherever they are working. And perhaps just as importantly, an infrastructure that allows their employees to do this in a safe and secure way. One of the core products in our portfolio to assist small businesses in their digital transformation journey is, of course, Dropbox Business. Many of you in the room, so to speak, would be familiar with Dropbox. But Dropbox Business is the version of the solution that is specifically designed to help businesses share, collaborate, and secure the sensitive content and data. It's used by businesses such as, a couple of the UK's largest broadcasters, all the way through to smaller businesses across a whole range of industries, verticals, from retail to legal to construction and hundreds more. I'd like to run through a couple of examples, if I may, of how some organizations are using Dropbox Business today to work more effectively and efficiently. For example, construction company Built is improving the tender response times tremendously by using Dropbox. And we all know how important responding quickly and effectively to tenders are, especially today. We also, on the other scale, have a fantastic example with Ben & Jerry's, who work across the world coordinating the new flavors of ice creams, product promotions with their franchise owners globally. Dropbox is also helping Westchester Publishing to reduce shadow IT and take back control of company security, bringing all of their data assets back into the control of the IT department. Dropbox is also helping international legal firm IRAP to securely collaborate on casework. IRAP stands for the International Refugee Assistance Project, and they need to collaborate across many different countries amongst thousands of different pro bono lawyers and law students in helping refugees in many different organizations and countries to get the support that they need. We're very proud to collaborate with IRAP. The District Councils Network is also using Dropbox to help organize a number of local events and delegate packages without the need for sending emails backwards and forwards. They have 4 events a year, and the amount of emails that they were sending previously was providing quite a few concerns for them. If nothing else, just trying to keep on top of all the different attachments that they're sending backwards and forwards. Dropbox Business has helped them regain control. But the reason why I specifically recommend Dropbox Business to many organizations, large and small, is that it offers not only unlimited storage capacity, but also the security and controls to make the most of that. It leads to increased collaboration amongst teams, both those internal and external to the organization, and its ease of setup so that the users can self-facilitate their own onboarding and use of the technology means fewer IT support calls. But that ease of use also leads to the other most important element here, which is that the adoption rates are the highest that we've ever seen across all of the products and technologies that we've ever worked with. Unfortunately, I don't have time to go through all of these benefits today, but I did want to focus on 3 that I think are the most important for small businesses like ourselves: security, collaboration, and ease of use. For each, I have a case study to talk through that may show you the challenge the company was facing, why digital transformation was the solution, and the results that they've seen. Hopefully some of these challenges will resonate with you as well. So we've been working with the Optimum project led by the Royal Surrey Hospitals research team. This organisation has been working really hard behind the scenes at collecting the largest global database of medical scans, specifically for breast cancer. So in addition to helping speed up the cancer diagnosis, the intention was for these scans, which consist of X-rays, MRI scans, and other digital images, to be used by researchers globally. but not just researchers. It's also been for pharmaceutical companies, academics, and clinicians across the globe who are using these images to better understand breast cancer and the different onsets or the different phases of it. Artificial intelligence is currently being, solutions are being developed at the moment to scan this large data set in order to be able to help detect and diagnose breast cancer more effectively than ever before. Now, with these huge images that need to be stored, shared, and accessed in a very secure way because of the sensitive patient data involved in this, the team was facing multiple challenges. They have over 7,000 case studies comprising over 30,000 images. Each is large, and of course that caused tremendous storage problems for this poor group. Medical records, of course, are highly sensitive. Patient identifiable information, as it's known, PII, needs to be secured. So a solution that actually withstood all of the information governance requirements was needed. And the cost of maintaining a suitable system on-premise or even using other cloud technologies was just way too prohibitive for this research group. And of course, they had a teeny-weeny little problem, which is the NHS intranet in the UK is pretty poor at transmitting very large data transfers like this. So they found that they were taking inordinate amounts of time to share the latest data sets, which meant, of course, the research was delayed and people couldn't get working on the images as quickly as would otherwise have been the case. Sharing these images easily and in a controlled way with international researchers was proving infeasible with the existing technologies. So the solution, of course, was using Dropbox Business. They continue to use this to this day, not only for this project, but also for other projects. The same research group is working really closely with NHSX, NHS Improvement, and NHS England, doing something very similar with pulmonary scans for the COVID-19 outbreak. As you can imagine, the speed of setting up this sharing platform and being able to get these images out to the different participants globally is really important. And that's why all the patient scans are now loaded into Dropbox, and the global research and contributors are given secure access to these data sets through a single link. All new images that are added are regularly and automatically synchronized across all of the research groups. And so I guess to summarize, there are three main reasons why the research group chose Dropbox. Firstly, it was ease of use. It just worked. They have been given free of charge Microsoft licenses for SharePoint, for OneDrive, but they were unable to make it work as seamlessly and also as quickly, bearing in mind they didn't have any developers for the SharePoint part as well. Another reason why they chose Dropbox was security. Given the sensitivity of these records, access to it needed to be managed, processed, and anonymized. The research team needed the confidence that the data would remain secure, only available to the authorized recipients, and that there was a whole audit trail as to who accessed which data and when. And Dropbox has given them that confidence. And finally, scalability. It was the fact that Dropbox provided all of this and that unlimited storage capacity that meant that however many cases and images they upload to this data repository, they can continue working effectively globally with all of the network of researchers without having to make any changes to the underlying technology. The results have been tremendous. Instead of taking hours and days to download some of these data sets, it now takes them just minutes. Previously, for example, it took up to 8 hours to download a set of images. Now they can do that in just 15 minutes. And that's been a tremendous boon for the researchers across the world. Another example, and I guess a little bit closer to home, based in Ireland, is the interesting collaboration between Lid Architecture, who designs some very innovative solutions. You may have actually seen them if any of you have been to Dublin and been outside of the Three Arena Stadium. You will have seen the shipping containers, rather interestingly, I guess, set up just in front of that. Well, the architects behind that have been contracted to build a house using a similar kind of design. And for this, they went out to tender, found a builder, Buildstruct, and together they've built this fantastic house based on shipping containers. Now, in order to collaborate together, they wanted to make sure that all of these different components of the project were all stored in one central database. And that's exactly what they've done. So whether the employees are working on site, that's in the middle of the hole that they just dug to make some foundations for this site, or whether they're working remotely from the office, designing the latest changes in the architect's drawings. The whole project requires collaboration from multiple people across multiple different form factors as well, everything from laptops, desktops, to mobile phones and tablets. And the businesses would otherwise have been struggling to share the large files and designs. Typically, these industries use paper-based plans, and these are great within the office, but when it starts raining outside on the construction site, they just turn to pulp. So this, of course, slows down the whole build process. So the solution, again, needed to be able to store all of this information, not only processing these large volumes of data, but making it available across all of these different locations and form factors and devices. So they started using Dropbox Business, to enable that real-time collaboration on documents, drawings, and other plans and related material. This, not just within the one organization, but across both organizations. So everything from sketches and sharing the designs with clients through to the planning, construction, and post-completion sign-off stages, everything is now managed centrally in the one unified Dropbox storage system. So the results have been quite astounding. They've had increased visibility and a full audit trail, so you can see which architect made which change to which document and when, which has sped up the process tremendously. They've reduced the number of emails and attachments that they were sending backwards and forwards, which typically has led to attachments going astray and people overlooking some of the latest design iterations in the past. That's all gone. They're always working with the latest and the greatest plans. And it sped up the communication through that real-time collaboration, allowing everyone from builder to architect to comment and collaborate in real time on all of these different plans. And of course, a boon for those working off-site especially is that's removed the need for all of this to be printed out and taken on site. They can now access the plans very quickly and efficiently from phones and tablet devices, or if working in the office from laptops and desktops. And everybody can then see and access the same information, which has made everyone more productive, flexible, and has also allowed, of course, that nirvana of remote working. Everybody can work on this, whether they're at home, on site, or in the office. And the final example of another project that has come about and has been extremely successful because of Dropbox has been one that we've run ourselves. And this started out as a not-for-profit initiative called Phones for Patients. It's now become a fully registered charity that I'm lucky to chair. And it's pretty straightforward. We work with a number of NHS organisations over in the UK, and they were finding it very hard to maintain meaningful contact between their patients who are becoming extremely isolated because of the COVID infection control processes that they've implemented at the hospitals. And so we have been working with a number of hospitals and care homes in order to collect, process, and then distribute secondhand donated phones and other equipment in order to allow hospital patients and care home residents to stay in touch with their loved ones during this pandemic. We needed to set this up in very short order because, of course, the lockdown came, everybody had to go home, and we were struggling to work out how we would build all of the processes and policies that we would need quickly and efficiently in order to make a difference. We managed to create all of these workflows, all the processes for managing these devices collaboratively and effectively across a team that was effectively working also from home, as everyone has been doing, I guess, the world over recently. And we managed to use Dropbox Business to accelerate some elements here. We use Dropbox Paper, which is a document editing capability that comes with Dropbox for not only editing, but also sharing and discussing the different processes as we were developing the workflows. We use Dropbox to be the central repository for the whole project, and everything from donated equipment, photographs, to process documents, to waiver sign-off documents, and so on. Everything for this project was stored within Dropbox Business. And we also used a feature of Dropbox, or I guess now another technology within the Dropbox portfolio, HelloSign, for rapid and efficient e-signatures. We used electronic signatures for collecting the waivers and gaining the, sign-off from the different donors, typically corporate donors of the devices, to make sure that we were legally protected for those donations, and also for the recipients, so that we in turn were legally protected when we donated the devices out to the different recipients, typically hospitals and care homes. We managed to implement this whole project from a standing start, in a matter of days. We've managed to tremendously speed up the communications internally as well as externally with all the different suppliers and collaborators that we've had with this project. We've provided internally a complete decision audit trail, so we know who decided to make which changes to the processes, and of course often the comment trail behind it to understand the reasons why. And I'm very, very pleased to say that we have now processed over 8,500 devices, and we're very grateful for all the donations that we've received. And we've been able to send these out to over 300 different participating organizations. This has helped tens of thousands of families stay in touch during the worst pandemic that we've seen in a century. And now I would like to pass over to Ross, who's got an even better tash and beard than I have. Over to you, Ross.
Thanks, Jason. My name is Ross Cosgrave. I'm a solution architect here in Dropbox. And my role really is to help customers from a technical point of view move to the cloud and now collaborate more and more remotely. Today, I'm going to be going through a short demonstration for a small to medium-sized business. We're going to focus on construction, but this really would work for any type of organization of this size, and try and show you how easy it would be to set up a Dropbox team, and then also how easy it will be to collaborate securely with all of your end users. So the first part of the demonstration is just to show how an admin would actually set up a Dropbox business team. So at the moment, on the left-hand side, you can see I'm in the admin console through the Dropbox website. And if you were to sign up for Dropbox, And the first thing you'd want to be doing is to invite members. And it's as simple as clicking this blue button on the right-hand side, putting their email addresses in, and as they respond to the emails, they'll appear here in the list of users. When you have your team invited, there are a few other pieces that you might be interested in. Is how do I add other admins to help me out manage my team? So as a team grows, you might want to have multiple admins to be able to manage everyone. Very simply, you can turn any member into an admin by just clicking on the settings cog and clicking admin permissions. And there's 3 types of admins. So there's the team admin who can do everything, user managed, which can add and remove members, and then support admins who can reset passwords. Moving on through our members, there's a few features as well around security that I'd like to highlight. So first of all, Dropbox, you can have strong passwords and also 2-step verification enabled for your users. If you're using a single sign-on provider, that's also available as well. And better yet, from time to time, you might have users that might lose a device or a device is stolen. How do we remediate this? It's very simple. You can just click on a user. You can see any device that's connected to their Dropbox business account. In this example here, we have Chloe. She's just let me know that she's lost her laptop on the train. You can click the X beside her laptop, and then you can say delete folder from device. And again, with people not working in the office and taking devices home more and more, there's going to be a lot more traveling people. And it's very important to be able to manage your devices remotely as well. The next thing I want to point out is the fact that we can actually recreate a folder structure that you might have had in an on-premise server. So what you're used to having is a file server in your office with all of your files. Well, you can actually move this type of file server and folder structure into Dropbox using what we call team folders. So what's special about team folders is that these are company managed folders. So an admin creates them. They create the security around them. So who can go into these folders? And as you move down through subfolders, you can restrict access or give access on a folder by folder basis. So basically mirroring what you would have had in your on-prem server. As I said, I'm going to focus on construction for today. So I've actually made a team folder for all of the construction projects that our team is going to be working on in 2020. If I go into the folder now, I've just made it quite simple for today's example, but I've said there's a project that we've run for Q1, another one for Q2, and so on. You'll notice if I zoom in slightly that some of these folders have a little icon that are saying restricted. And this is because I've decided that I only want the project team to be able to access the project folder, not my entire team. And you can do this on a folder by folder basis. And again, giving you that granularity and security around your folders, but keeping everything in one place and managed. Finally, I want to just move on to our insights. So again, always focusing on security in the cloud. We have an insights table that will show you the health of your Dropbox deployment, how much space you're using. As Jason said earlier on, you have as much space as you need. This is just more for your own references. And then the latest thing that we've introduced into Insights is numbers to watch. So Dropbox is used by so many people because it is so easy to share. But sometimes people share in insecure ways, like not adding an expiry date to a link, meaning when that link is shared, it will live out there forever. Also, sharing a link that has no password. With Dropbox, we are giving you the ability to be able to see these numbers and then be able to remediate them as well as they come up. Later on in the end user demonstration, I'll be able to actually show you how your end users can quickly send a secure link with an expiry date with a couple of clicks. Okay, so for this part of the demonstration, I'm just going to be showing you how an end user would interact with a Dropbox folder for a construction project that they're working on. If you've used Dropbox before in a personal sense or business sense, you'll know that it lives as a Dropbox folder, either in the Finder on the Mac, which I'm using today, or the Windows Explorer, and it just appears as a regular folder. If I go into this construction projects which my admin had created for us, and I go into this year's Q4 project that I'm working on, I can see I have a selection of different files and folders. Now, one of the big pieces, and Jason brought this up earlier on, is how do you get people that you're working with on a project to submit files to you? So sometimes if you send an email out to 10 people and ask them to submit files, you'll get the files in 10 different ways. Some links, some email attachments, sometimes cloud storage solutions as well. But wouldn't it be nice to be able to send out a link to all of these 10 people and everything come back into the one central location, tagged by each person on who has actually submitted it. So you don't have to go and have to put them all back together after receiving the requests. It's as simple as a right click on a folder. So I've created a folder called File Requests. I give it a right click here and I can say Request Files. This will bring me to the Dropbox website and it'll ask me to name my request. So I'm going to say this is site photos that I need to get of this construction site. I can give it extra instructions if I need. And as you can see, it's going to send these files into the File Request folder. Let's say we needed a deadline. I need these files by the end of the month. So I'm going to give this to the 30th of November and I can create the file request. Now from here, I could create a link and send this in an email, or even quicker, I can actually send it straight to someone's email address. So I'm going to send this actually to Harry. And he's actually going to be able to use this link on his phone to be able to send pictures of the site back into this folder. So if I move across onto my next screen here, so we'll just jump into actually the file request folder first, just to show you it's empty. And then we're going to go on to Harry's phone. So he's going to receive an email from Dropbox. You can see it's already arrived in. You can see it's marked site photos. The nice thing about this is Harry doesn't need to have Dropbox account. This will work with anyone who receives this email or receives the link that you've shared. He can simply add files. He could take a photo with his camera. I have a few photos already saved from earlier on. And again, I can just select the two photos from the mobile device, and then I can upload them in a matter of seconds. So again, working remotely and people working on mobile devices becoming more and more common. So Dropbox works on your laptop just as well as on your mobile device. If I head back to my folder now, you'll see those two files have arrived in, and I can open them up and I can preview them as well. And there's the construction site for that day. So we've looked at file requests. Another popular thing is to be able to transfer files. So let's imagine that we have been requested to send the project for Q2 to a site manager, or maybe it's a client or a customer. We can do this very easily. What I want to show you, though, is how we would do this through what we call the new desktop Dropbox desktop app called Dropbox Spaces. So as I said, you can always access your files through the Finder or Explorer, but just in behind this window here, we have our Dropbox desktop application. The desktop application is a place where you can bring a lot more features into what we would usually think of a file explorer. So if I go into the construction projects here and I look at Q2 projects, the other things that we can do in here is we can add descriptions to a project. So for instance, I could put the description up here, and I could also then add tasks. So let's say I needed a task to be done by Harry, I can mention him. And it means that when everyone comes into the project, they can actually see what has been asked of them. And as people finish their tasks, they can tick them off. If there's an important folder or file, they can put it up here. And also they have loads of quick actions here on the right-hand side, like transfer, which I'm going to show you next. So I've moved back to the project 2 folder. I can quickly send this as a transfer. By just hitting the send with transfer button, this will load up our transfer, which I can name. I can put all the security that you would want around a link. So we have 30-day, let's change that to 7. Let's put a password in here. Again, I wouldn't use 1, 2, 3, 4 in real life. This is just for the demonstration, and we can create the transfer. This transfer will be accessible via email or via link, depending on how you feel like you want to share it. And also, important to note, you can actually transfer 100 gigabytes worth of files in one go. So if I just click on this here to preview the transfer, you can see the custom logo that you can upload so it looks and feels like it comes from you. I've chosen yellow as the background here. But again, you can put your own photograph or own background. Again, so it's not showing Dropbox's logo, it's showing yours, and it feels like it's a finished product. The next thing I want to highlight as well is if you ever have an issue where, let's say, your organization is hit with a ransomware attack. So that means that all of your files within a Dropbox folder will be encrypted, and you would have to usually pay a good deal of money to have your files unencrypted. You can get back your very valuable work. Or if another example is if someone accidentally deletes a lot of files from your Dropbox environment, how could I quickly remediate this or fix this? So in this use case here, we're going to imagine that someone has accidentally deleted all of the project files. They've moved them out of the construction projects folder. And then we have suddenly a load of people are sending emails around saying, where are all our files for the whole year gone? We were working on them. Very quickly, in a few clicks, we can go and click up the top right here, bring ourselves to the Dropbox website, to that folder, and we can rewind that folder. And we can also rewind our whole Dropbox. So once I'm here, it's as simple as clicking rewind this folder on the right-hand side. We hit get started. You'll see there's a nice timeline. We'll pick the 17th of November because it's today. We can hit continue, and then we can move down to when I deleted the files. So you can get all the way down to the point where I deleted project 1 and hit continue. And now the folder is rewound. So in a matter of seconds, we'll start seeing all of the files and folders repopulate back into our folder. This is in terms of deleted. But again, if this was the same as a ransomware attack where all of these were encrypted, what we could do is we could find out when the ransomware attack happened. Let's say it was 9 a.m. this morning, and we could rewind back to 8 a.m. this morning, and we could get back to work. So this is one of our newer features on Dropbox. And again, ransomware attacks are becoming more prevalent now at the moment with people working remotely. And this is a great security feature that you will have with Dropbox as well. Now that we're all working from home, access to printers and actually be able to sign off on things in wet ink and actually print and scan has become a lot more difficult. And it's also very time consuming. With Dropbox, you could also send, with a couple of clicks, at any document out for signature. So if we go into our project 4 from 2020, we have a contract that we need to get signed. And it's as simple as clicking send for signature using HelloSign. And this will load up the signature process where you can drag and drop your signature onto the document. And then you can send it for signature. So it prepares the document. You'll see a nice, easy to use interface. So I'm going to send this to Ross. Hit next. And then I can ask, okay, where do I need this person to sign? So we'll go down to the signature area. I'm going to ask for a signature here. I want the date. And again, any other information you need to ask for that person, like their full name, you can put here, hit next, and then we can say send. Another nice thing of this, the deep integration we have with HelloSign is that all of your files can go back to where they were sent from. So if I've sent this contract from a specific folder, we can send the finished product back to the same folder as well.